Hey guys, I'm finally back with another video. Sorry it's been like a month. I actually had this video pretty much done a few weeks ago, but I found a lot of interesting things that I wanted to add in since then. I'll be talking about a lot of stuff, so I'll leave timestamps to specific topics in a pinned comment below. Also, I want to thank you all for your comments in my last video. I really do appreciate it. Alright, so let's get started. As most of you know, when your right joystick is set to tilt or smash, it's simply a macro for a direction on the control stick and attack. So when you hit C stick forward, the game automatically inputs forward and A. Now we can take advantage of this by hitting special on the same frame as the C stick input, which will basically replace A with B. This gives us free use of the control stick at the same time the special happens. This is similar to how C bouncing worked in Brawl, but we can do so much more with it in Ultimate, as you'll soon see. I'll start with the most useful application of this technique, which is the ability to do very easy wave bounces without having to change your C stick to special, or in other words, a C bounce. Now of course I know it's possible to do a wave bounce with the control stick alone, but because of the gymnastics you had to do with your thumb, it was near impossible to react to a situation with it in a real match. However, this macro cancel method uses both control sticks as direction inputs for your special, so the wave bounce can be done instantaneously and with extreme consistency.
Flow of my movements as I demonstrate.
Literally, all it involves is run, jump, back air, and special. Though you're probably wondering, how am I supposed to hit C stick and special at the same time? Well, this unfortunately is a bit of a hurdle for GameCube controller users. This technique requires you to have access to jump, special, and the right joystick simultaneously, meaning there are a couple options for the GameCube controller. You can either map special to a shoulder button and claw grip, so that you can use your index finger to hit jump. Or you can map both jump and special to shoulder buttons and put shield or grab on a face button. Luckily, if you use a Pro controller or the Joy-Cons, you don't need to change anything on default. Just map special and jump to 2 of the 4 shoulder buttons. Both the tilt stick and the smash stick will work, but the smash stick does have some limitations, as I'll soon explain. Everything else can be whatever you want it to be. I'm still going to use the GameCube controller graphics for my explanations ahead, since they look distinct. Alright, so with all the controls explained, to do a side special wave bounce, hit control stick forwards, then whenever you want to do the wave bounce, just press jump, then immediately hit C stick back and special at the same time. Here's how it looks in slow motion. And here's how it looks in full speed. Just to note, the inputs don't have to be held down after the wave bounce has happened. I just did that to show it clearly. When executing this tech, I find it helpful to keep in mind that all I'm doing is cancelling my back air with the special button. Though you must input the back air as soon as you leave the ground. If you do it too late, it won't get cancelled. It's also helpful to remember that the control stick and the C stick must always be hit in the opposite directions regardless of which way you're facing. Buffering the wave bounce straight off the ground may not be useful for some characters because of the position and the hitbox of the move. But this technique can also make it easy to do the wave bounce anytime in the air. It's done a little differently, but just as easy. And for this particular method, jump does not need to be on shoulder, since we don't need instant access to it, but special still needs to be on shoulder. So to do it, jump forwards, then whenever you want, hit the control stick back, then press special. This will give us a turnaround special, then immediately hit C stick forwards to wave bounce it. Here's how it looks in slow motion. And here's how it looks in full speed. This doesn't have to be from a jump. It works anytime you're in the air, so long as you have momentum to the left or right. And just to note, certain moves can't be wave bounced, like Falcon Punch, Counter, and some others. For starters, I suggest practicing with Zero Suit Samus, because you can clearly see if she gets the wave bounce, or not. As you've seen in my examples before, neutral special wave bounces can also be done using this method, if you use tilt stick. For some reason, it doesn't work with smash stick. To do it, run forwards, jump, but instead of hitting C-stick back, hit it on a diagonal and press special at the same time. Here's how it looks in slow motion. And here's how it looks in full speed. This works because when you hit back on a C-stick diagonal and press special at the same time, it'll give you a turnaround neutral special. Using the GameCube controller actually has a small advantage here, because the ridges around the C-stick will guarantee that you won't miss the diagonal input. Just a note, for some neutral specials you can retreat much further back by simply holding your control stick back after the wave bounce inputs. Now I know what I've explained may sound a bit complicated, but trust me, it isn't. Please go and try it for yourself. Once you get the hang of hitting C-stick and special at the same time, the entire thing just feels like throwing out a back air. I honestly feel that with this method, wave bouncing can be a much more viable option in the neutral. This technique also makes down special wave bounces a hell of a lot easier to do. However, this time we'll only be using the direction part of the C-stick macro, and ignoring the attack part, as it won't affect what we need to do. You can also use a face button to jump, because we won't be needing instant access to it for this, but we'll still be needing special on a shoulder button. Alright, so to do the down special wave bounce, you need to first B-reverse the down special, which is really easy. Jump forwards, then roll your control stick to the bottom lower quadrant and hit special in between. Once you got that down, all you have to do is hit C-stick forward at the same time as special, just like the other wave bounces. This is how it looks in slow motion. Here's how it looks in full speed. For those who don't know much about wave bouncing and its uses, it's generally meant as a zoning or fake out tool, since it allows your character to instantly shift momentum to the opposite direction while throwing out a hitbox at the same time. Overall, if you use the GameCube controller, I understand if the changing controls is too much rewiring for you. But if you use a Pro controller, there's no reason not to use this tech, since you have the extra shoulder button, and there's nothing you need to change out of the ordinary. Alright, now I want to get into applications at the ledge. First, a new potential getup option. This particular one requires tilt stick, as I'll explain why. Recall how all this is working because we're interrupting the C-stick macro with special. Similarly, we can do the same thing if we press shield on the same frame as the C-stick input. If this is done during a jump, we'll get a neutral air dodge with momentum at the same time. This only works with tilt stick because the smash stick macro will force a direction air dodge, which is not what we want here. With that said, at the ledge, if we drop down, press jump, then hit C-stick forwards and shield at the same time, then immediately roll our joystick forwards, we'll be able to reach the platform with a neutral air dodge. Here's how it looks in slow motion. And here's how it looks in full speed. Though unfortunately, there are only a handful of characters that can actually make it to the lower platforms of Battlefield, whom are as follows. It can be any Battlefield layout stage. The platforms on other stages are a tad bit too far from the ledge, meaning only Yoshi and Falco can reach those ones. In terms of practical application, I think this can be a potentially good getup option because you're invulnerable during the entire jump. You're only vulnerable for a very brief time when you let go of the ledge, and when you land, so it's not 100% safe, but I feel this can be an alternative option if your opponent is trying to cover multiple neutral getup options. Now, punishing opponents with a ledge trump is possible in Ultimate, although not guaranteed, since they have a number of options to avoid it, like DI or input an instant getup option. So this next application is assuming you can catch them off guard with a trump. With that said, normally trying to connect most neutral specials after a ledge trump won't work because the entire input process is too slow. But recall how we can get an automatic turnaround special by hitting C-stick diagonal backwards and special at the same time. So at the ledge, this will allow us to freely use our control stick to let go of the ledge and move closer to the opponent, while the C-stick handles the entire turnaround special input. So here's a step-by-step. After you get the ledge trump, you want to hit back on the control stick and hold it. Press jump, then hit diagonal back on the C-stick and press special at the same time. All inputs one instantly after the other. Here's how it looks in slow motion. And here's how it looks in full speed. This technique can also be applied to instant reverse aerials, which is the technique I discussed in my attack cancel video, by hitting special immediately after jump. For a lot of specials, this isn't particularly groundbreaking, since it just simulates a turnaround special, though it does automatically give you the maximum turnaround special distance from a standing position every time. But what I really want to focus on are certain specials that have unique effects when this technique is applied. A good example is Zelda's down B. Normally, Zelda's knight will spawn behind her, no matter how you do it. But if you cancel her instant reverse down air with a special move, the knight will spawn in a fixed position, while Zelda continues to drift behind it. This of course gives the move much more defensive utility, since the knight is in a position to protect Zelda while she summons it, as opposed to the normal method where Zelda is completely vulnerable. To do this, you first have to know how to do an instant reverse down air. Hit your control stick backwards to dash back, then instantly hit C-stick forwards, then immediately hit jump and roll your control stick down at the same time. Once you've got this down, all you have to do is hit special right after. Timed correctly, the special button will cancel the down air into a down special, and the knight will spawn in front of Zelda. Here's how it looks in slow motion. And here's how it looks in full speed. Just a note, if you press special too early, you'll get a side B. If you press it too late, the down air won't get cancelled. Another good one is Mii Sword Fighter's third side special, the Chakram. This move has a strong hit done by smashing the control stick, and a multi-hit if you tilt the control stick. If you want to throw the multi-hit Chakram from an idle position, there's about a second of delay before it comes out, since you need time to tilt the joystick. However, if we hit C-stick forward and special on the same frame, like we've been doing, we can get the multi-hit to come out instantly. But what's really awesome about this is that we can cancel the forward air macro into the Chakram. And because our control stick is freed up, we can just use it to angle it down. This can potentially make it a really good out of shield option against laggier moves. The automatic forward momentum places you in a perfect position to combo out of the Chakram. This one's easier to do since you don't have to do an instant reverse aerial. All you have to do is a forward air input. So jump, then hit C-stick forwards and special at the same time. You can hit your control stick down at the same time as the C-stick to angle it down. You can also cancel the instant reverse aerial to throw out a multi-hit Chakram while retreating. The inputs are exactly the same as the Zelda one I just talked about, except just hit up with the control stick to angle up, or no control stick input to throw it straight. Similar to Zelda, Mewtwo's down B benefits from this technique as well. Normally, this move can't be B reversed or turned around. However, if you cancel an instant reverse down air with special, you'll get this. Again, it's done in the exact same way as the one with Zelda. I can't say for certain there's any applications for this. Maybe it can be useful for a tech chase situation, but overall, I likely haven't fleshed out this technique completely, despite having spent a lot of time labbing it. I'm sure there are more ways it can be applied. Some folks on Twitter like RyleSSB and SPSkep have also found unique applications, which has inspired some of the things that I talked about here. So I urge you to give it a try and see if you can find more things. Or if you're thinking, MFC, you're crazy, I'm not changing a single button on my controller. That's fine too. I hope that you at least found this video interesting. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I want to give a quick thank you to the kind folks on my Patreon for their support. Silver, Bernard Smith, Brooke Miad, Hunter Stowell, Sylvian Bay, and many others. I really do appreciate it. Well, with that said, I'll see you all next time.